Carolina has a rich history in sustainable programs, and I think we're building on that as well. So what I'd like to do today is talk a little bit about what y'all are doing specifically, some programs that are working that our readers would really like to know about. So to get things started, I'd kind of like to have our readers get familiar with you and the organizations that you represent. So if you could just tell us a little bit, about your organization and just give us a little background. That'd be great. And Amy, if we could start with you, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for having me. I'm Amy Ossaker, Executive Director of Envision Charlotte. And Envision Charlotte is a nonprofit. We've been around about 12 years. And our first project that really kind of got us on the map was our energy efficiency program, where we worked with the largest buildings in Uptown Charlotte to reduce energy use for up to 20% over 5 years. And we saw a 19.2% reduction in 61 buildings, which was $26 million in savings. From there, we started looking at sustainability a little bit more holistically. And so in the last few years, we've really transitioned to the circular economy approach. And so we lead Charlotte's effort in the circular economy. And so basically a zero waste society. And it's been a really interesting transition from focus more just on energy to more holistically looking at sustainability, because it gives businesses a lot more opportunities around engagement, savings, and doing better by the planet Earth.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Daniel, I know that everyone that is in, lately when we have storms and things like that, we love to see the Pike logo coming down the street. It's going to help us out. But could you tell us a little bit about Pike Engineering?
Everybody loves to see a Pike truck, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our trucks here in just a bit. But good afternoon, everyone. Ben, thanks for having me. My name is Daniel Wright. I've been with Pike for 15 years now. It's an awesome company to work for and with. I was on the construction side of the house, Pike Electric, for 14 years. And recently I've been on the engineering side of the house, which is my academic background, for 1 year. But if you're not familiar with Pike, we are a 78-year-old privately owned company, started out of small town Mount Airy, North Carolina, which is my hometown. And we engineer, construct, and maintain the electrical infrastructure for over 300 of our customers. And that's predominantly investor-owned utilities, cooperatives, and municipalities. We're working in over 40 states, but predominantly we're most concentrated in the Southeast. And our engineering headquarters is out of Fort Mill, South Carolina, so just to the south of you. But as far as I go, myself and my wife Jennifer, we're UNC Charlotte alum. Go 49ers! We have 2 young children, and we one of our favorite things to do on the weekends is get on Lake Norman. So we drive down from Mount Airy, and I've been enjoying the lake since I was a kid. So just love the area and love working in the Carolinas.
That's awesome. Thank you. And one thing about Mount Airy, too, they have one of the best fried pork chop sandwiches in that town. The world, man. Good
Snappy's
stuff.
lunch. Yeah,
you got it. That's it.
One other thing. Sure. Bonnie, I wanted to tell you, Bonnie, I am a big fan of E4.
Thank you.
And I am an E4 emerging leader graduate, class of 2015. And it was an awesome year in curriculum and certainly helped propel my leadership career. So I appreciate the effort that you got going on there.
That's a great segue, Bonnie. Why don't you? We've been working, like I mentioned earlier, we've been working with E4 Carolinas for many moons, and they're very familiar with the service that the organization association does for the industry cluster in North and South Carolina. Tell us a little bit about E4 and what it does and who it serves.
Thanks so much, Ben. And I really appreciate you using the word cluster, because that is what we believe we have in the Carolinas, is a true energy industry cluster. And we are really in the midst of working to integrate with the economic development community a little bit differently, and work to connect the dots on the fact that energy is no longer just an enabler of other more traditional economic development clusters, such as automotive, manufacturing, or aerospace, or life sciences. The energy has become its own cluster. And so our organization is an energy trade association. We have a little over 150 member organizations from across all aspects of the energy industry, the energy spectrum, small, large, investor-owned utilities, service companies like Pike Engineering, consultants, and lawyers, and UNC Charlotte, really working to connect the organizations who have some footprint in the energy industry in the Carolinas. And our mission is to grow the Carolinas energy economy, and we do that primarily through economic development focused activities and workforce development focused activities. And on the workforce side, we have some college-based programs with HBC, historically Black colleges and universities. And then we also have the leadership program that you heard Daniel mention just a moment ago. From an economic development perspective, we have the largest task force that we have in our organization. We have various research activities that are taking place to identify the value chain associated with different aspects of the energy industry: advanced nuclear, hydrogen, energy storage, and electric vehicles. So smart grid technologies, all of those different spaces. In fact, one of those most recent grants, Mike, is through UNC Charlotte's award from the National Science Foundation for the Engines of Innovation program, Innovation Engines program, that it will be mapping and identifying the clean energy value chain in both states. So we are a little over 11 years old and enjoy a growing membership, and are returning to some more frequent in-person activity. As I just mentioned, we've done a little bit in person over the last year and a half, but we're turning it up at this point.
Yeah, it's ramping up for sure in terms of meetings and such. So it's great timing as well. Ryan, I'm looking forward to you sharing everything that you're doing, because I just got to learn about your company really over the past 2 weeks and did a little research and got to talk to you yesterday. But you're really doing some innovative things. Can you tell us a little bit about Raglan?
Sure thing. Thanks, Ben, for having this and setting this all up. And then pleasure to meet you all. I think Raglan, we're kind of emblematic of the changes that are occurring within North Carolina. My co-founder and I and most of our team are actually from the Mid-Atlantic originally, so we're not born and bred North Carolinians. But Raglan is 100% veteran-owned and operated company. We were founded in 2020 out of Wilmington, Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, to be an innovative EV mobility and technology solutions company. We first wanted to attack the pain points that existed within classic car ownership, as well as their perception of EVs. And so our forward-facing consumer product right now is a fully bespoke, completely restored, fully electrified Land Rover Defender. And then we have since expanded our operations over the course of the last year to include technology solutions across a myriad of different platforms, including legacy vehicles within the Department of Defense. Ultimately, our goal with Raglan is to play a role in helping the EV revolution via full spectrum mobility transition of the US fleet through combustion engine conversions. It's our belief that it's just not going to happen on an OEM level only, that there has to be a whole of society approach to fostering this transition over. And the more efficiently we use resources that we've already harvested and have already dedicated manufacturing hours to, the quicker we can facilitate that transition.
Awesome. Thanks. Mike, I have to tell you that I don't think we've ever had a roundtable discussion without UNC Charlotte being included in it. We've either had it there at the Epic Center with the folks there, or we've had a panelist and stuff like that. So we're all very familiar with UNC Charlotte, but tell us a little bit about your role at UNC Charlotte.
Okay, thanks. So I'm a sustainability officer. which is a requirement for all the UNC campuses to have them. And I've been here almost 10 years now, and a lot of the role has to do at a North Carolina university. A lot of your role is going to be tied to the construction that's going on because the whole system continues to grow, and so that's a big part of it. A large part of it too is on waste management, because that's an area that is a challenge for us, and does have some ties to business, and I think a lot of opportunities for business too. We also get involved a little bit in the product. So, our product being, however you want to define it, a curriculum, the graduates who've taken that curriculum, the research that comes out of the laboratories. But we do get involved in those products, do a lot of the sort of assessment to see where we're going with it. But we also will, for example, run workshops for the faculty on incorporating sustainability into more and more of the curriculum. And so we have, our industry has rating systems and metrics and things of that sort. And so we're kind of the central office to help the chancellor understand where we're standing today. Of course, we're always competing with the other UNC campuses and trying to measure up or surpass that. The one tagline I guess I would mention is that, we are designated as the urban research university for the state of North Carolina. So we do pay particular attention to urban scale problems.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And I know a testament to y'all is, when the last Great Recession hit, one of the things that UNC Charlotte did, which was really neat, was got together with a lot of its business partners and really created this kind of new industry that got away from finance, which we were so dependent on in this region. And basically it wasn't reinventing everything. It was essentially, but it felt to me like it was like, hey, there's also another industry here that's been here for just as long, if not longer, and it's just as important. So take a look at this, and it really opened people's eyes up in the community about the importance of the energy industry as well. So, yeah, kudos. Joel, we did a podcast a couple months back now. I can't believe how time flies and such. But it was also really a pleasure to learn about your company and actually your companies. Can you tell us a little bit about the companies that you work with, because they're all very different, but they're connected as well in very unique ways?
Sure. Thanks, Ben. I started my first O2 company in 2009 with only one client who wanted to enter the business of engineering and building solar power plants. And I want to thank Pike, who helped us get the lights on at O2 in this early phase. While we were consulting for Pike, we began learning how a private non-utility company could design, develop, own, and operate utility-scale solar power plants in the Southeast, because it really hadn't been done before for non-utility companies. By 2011, we had developed and built the Mayberry Solar Farm in Mount Airy. And that is a wonderful town to visit. And Avery Solar, which is right near Grandfather Mountain in Newland, North Carolina. And after that, over the next several years, O2 became what's called an independent power producer. Designing, developing, owning, and operating these large-scale solar power plants across North Carolina. But we also had the chance to develop kind of new businesses in this period that are really trying to do good things for the community while trying to create sustainable business models in the areas of agriculture, food, and hospitality. So, our largest project is in the town of Biscoe in Montgomery County, and we call that now the Montgomery Sheep Farm. So even though there's a 28 megawatt solar farm there, we use it as a research station for how agrivoltaics can create the opportunity for sustainable agriculture and clean energy on the same piece of land. We saw early on that one of the largest costs for operating solar farms was maintaining the vegetation that grew up to 4 inches a day in the summer. So we started, a company called Sunrays Farms that began using sheep to maintain the vegetation on these solar farms. And very quickly, we found out that after the growing season, these sheep needed a new home because we didn't want to feed them all winter. And so we started Sunrays Foods to develop the market for lamb in North Carolina. So we have lamb cuts and lamb salami, but we sell those products through retailers, local restaurants, and then importantly through our farm to table dinners. And to start a new product that's with animals that are raised on solar farms, we designed a lamb salami that recently won the Our State Magazine made an BNC Food Award and the National Good Food Award. And it's a product that really carries the whole cycle of sustainability with it when it's sold, at its eventual restaurant or retailer. And finally, we invested in a bed and breakfast because we felt like the hospitality industry really needed more sustainability infused in the business model. And so we bought the Level House Inn in Boone and created a whole microgrid to power the property by solar power, and have implemented a lot of sustainable activities as part of that business model. So that's kind of a short cap of what O2 does.